Okay, now we're here. Hello, everybody. I'm just going to turn the music down a little bit because it's pretty loud in my ears. Okay, is that loud enough for you guys? Am I loud enough? Is the music not too loud? I'm going to change screens real quick. So, as some of you guys may recall from earlier in the week, I put up a poll in regards to oh, this I'm just trying to. Here we go. Hello to Fast, Dankness, and Vector the Groovy Croc. Good to see you guys. These are the first ones in. So essentially today is going to be pretty easy. Earlier in the week, I put up a poll sort of suggesting if people would want to see me do sort of a live roasting or just sort of just, you know, have me explain everything I hate about the live action Transformers films. So that's what I'm going to do today, because, like, lots of people ask me what I think of the films, and to be honest, I'm getting a little bit sick of repeating myself, so I think it's just going to be good to let it all out and just explain all my frustrations that I have with most of the films, because if you see on the thumbnail, there are 2 films there with ticks next to their name, and there's 4 that have X's, so essentially, we're going to see which ones, well, you guys are going to see what my opinions are. I will state what I like about them, but mostly it's going to be a negative sort of thing. So, and it should be clear as well, if you guys like the live-action films, that's fine, more power to you. They're just not for me, so please, if you don't agree with my opinion, just don't be negative about it. Speaking of which, actually, I did put some new stream rules in the description. So I figured it would probably be worth doing that, because so that way I don't have to sort of explain rules as I go. So just figured I'd point that out. But anyways, enough screwing around. Let's just get right into this. Also, enjoy the Transformers Devastation music in the background, by the way. So basically, let's see, hold on, Anti-Maximal. We should put all of the Bayverse movies in a bomb and make them go kaboom. Yeah, well, maybe not all of them, but 4 of them, yes. Anyways, let's just dive right into this already. I think we've wasted long enough. So we're going to kick things off. We're going back to 2007. This one right here. Now, what do I think of this one? Yes, I like this one. The 2007 Transformers film. I really like this film. I have a very similar opinion to this film as I do with the first Sonic film. Essentially, like, it wasn't perfect per se, but it set a really good foundation for what could have been going forward. However, unlike the Sonic movies that went, which was a big step up with the second film, as I'm sure most of you will agree, the Transformers films took a step down. And it should be clear, if someone were to ask me, what film do I think did a better foundation? Was it this film or the first Sonic film? I'd say this film. I enjoyed this film a little bit more. There were more characters, there was a bit more action, and yeah, so I just kind of thought, yeah, overall, I think this was a better starting point film, but the films that followed, no way. Let's see, what are you guys saying? Devastation has a banger soundtrack? Yep. Optimus Prime's a war criminal in this? Yes, I'll agree with you on that. Well, sort of, yeah. It's a good statement there, Ultimate Eco. Because Optimus in this, he was pretty bloodthirsty in this one. Not this particular film, he was actually very similar to G1 Optimus in this one. He wasn't super violent, he didn't show much hesitation, but he wasn't, like, super brutal, he didn't rip off people's heads and everything like he did in all the later ones. The 2007's an OG awesome film? Yes, because this film as well was, uh-oh, did the internet go down? I hope not. Okay, no, we're good. But essentially, the OG film... I lost my train of thought there. Okay, there we go. So essentially, like, this film was actually very revolutionary for its time, because whilst, yes, CG had been a thing for years, it hadn't really been a thing, well, nothing had really been seen of this magnitude, so to sort of have it be, like, so this film was definitely very revolutionary. Like, of course, you see lots of really advanced CG these days, but for at the time when this came out, this was like one of the best CG films of its era, so it was very revolutionary in that case, and it was sort of, I suppose you could say it paved the way for much higher quality sort of computer-generated imagery, but still. So yeah, and again as well, I'm just going for what Keldo Studios said here. Let's see, another thing I like about the Bayverse is the music. Yes, I agree. The soundtrack by Steve Jablonsky, really good, really fitting, really captivating. Like again, and even in the films, like the later films that I'm not too fond of, he still did a really good job on the soundtrack. So basically, essentially, like there were a lot of really good elements in this film. The humans in here were probably at their best. Like, they weren't really cringeworthy. Like, I mean, some could say maybe Sam Witwicky was a little cringeworthy, but he did mature a lot in the back half of the film, in my opinion. My favorite human throughout this whole series is definitely Lennox. He's exactly what I want to see for, like, an Autobot's ally that's a human. Like, him and Epps and all the other guys that he worked with and all those other soldiers, they were loyal. They didn't see them as, like, you know, aliens that are going to invade our planet. They saw they're here with a purpose to protect us, so yeah, I always have respect for him. Let's see. I'll never forget how Optimus just kills Bone Crusher. That's true. That was the first, like, he didn't really show much hesitation there, but compared to how Optimus fights in, say, a lot of the later films, that was kind of tame, to be honest, when he gets, like, you know, Revenge of the Fallen and everything. Optimus Prime looks more a villain than hero in this movie, or an anti-hero. Yeah, to some degree he kind of is, because very different to his G1 version, because at the time when Peter Cullen first got the role in the 80s show, he initially didn't really, like, he actually based his performance from his brother, Larry Cullen, who was a former Marine. I'm sure some of you guys have heard this story before, but I'm just going to say it anyway. But essentially, he was sort of, like, his brother sort of said to Peter, like, don't be, like, if you're going to be a hero, don't be one of those Hollywood heroes. Like, if you're going to be a hero, be strong enough to be gentle. And that's what set Optimus apart from so many other heroes back in the day. And that's part of the reason why G1 Optimus Prime's, like, my favorite fictional character of all time. And now this version of Optimus was very similar to those Hollywood heroes. But then again, I don't blame Peter Cullen for that, because, you know, he's got offered the job, and, you know, his job's to play the character, not to say how the character should be written. So, if, you know. So essentially, yeah, which, again, probably moving on to the voice cast, it was great to hear Peter Cullen return as Optimus, which, of course, made him return to several other forms of media, like the games and Transformers Prime, for example. And most of the other voice casts were, and speaking of the characters, like, I felt most of the other voice casts were good picks. A little disappointed we didn't get some more G1 VAs in there, but for the most part, they were still very fitting for their respective characters. Let's see, what are you guys saying? Starscream, you failed me once again. Yep. The Scorpion Dog fight scares me every time. Yeah, Vector, I remember watching that when I was a kid. Yeah, that did scare me a little bit, that scene. The Bay movies have cringe dialogues and bad acting, but the characters are awesome and memorable. Yes, in the most case. Usually, like, the shining stars of these films is the CGI and the fight scenes. Like, even in the really bad films, Age of Extinction and The Last Knight, which we'll get to eventually, the visuals in there are still really good. They're still really well done, and that's what's really made these films stand out. But, regardless, it's, yes, like, the visual effects are always the crown jewel of these films. They're always jaw-dropping, and, yeah. Let's see. What's he saying? The one great thing was Bay got Peter to come out of his retirement. Yes, he did, because I'm not sure how many of you guys know this. I've said this a few times on stream, but I think the initial plan was to get Liam Neeson to voice Optimus Prime, which probably would have been a good pick, but in hindsight, you can't go past Peter Cullen, so at the end of the day, they made the right choice to go with him. I'm not sure if they couldn't convince Liam Neeson or what the deal was, but that's sort of what happened. Let's see. Oh, Minty Tails. I tried to send you Dark Tales on... Oh, actually, Minty Tails, I checked that out already myself. I found it online. Yeah, I think when you put links in the chat, I think it just automatically deletes, because that's just the way I've got it set up. But I actually did check that comic out. It was really cool, actually. Thank you for putting me onto that. This is the only movie where the Decepticons weren't made of tissue paper. Yeah, and like, speaking of which, we'll go back to the characters. So, character designs, some of them were good. Optimus, really good. Jazz, really good. They were very reminiscent of their G1 counterparts without being completely, with a couple of changes here and there. I felt some of the Autobots were mostly good. Like, I actually really like Ironhide in these movies. I only think it would have been better if he was red, not black, because I feel like when he was black, he looked a little bit more like Trailbreaker from the G1 series. So I just feel like, again, that's a little nitpick, but Ironhide's personality was on point. I just feel like maybe if he was red, it would just make him much more reminiscent of the original, but his personality was on point. And yeah, Ironhide was definitely one of my favorites in this series. Similar with Ratchet, his design was okay, like they still made him like an ambulance and everything, and his personality was on point, but again, yeah, I feel like maybe if they had gone with like a red and white color scheme rather than just a yellow one, that probably would have been better for Ratchet. Bumblebee, bit of a different change, but honestly, the whole muscle car thing with Bee's kind of grown on me, particularly through Transformers Prime. So frankly, in hindsight, I guess that was a bit of a good, it was sort of a welcome change for the character. I think the whole him losing his voice box thing's run its course. It was a cool gimmick at first, but I think when they started bringing it into a lot of the shows like TF Cyberverse and everything, it just kind of, I think everyone was just getting a bit sick of it, because it's like, let the guy speak for a change, come on. But yeah, so yeah, most of the Autobots I was really happy with. The Decepticons. Megatron, best one. His design was very menacing, which is good for a character. Bit of a different one from the G1 version, but it wasn't terrible. His personality was really good, because to make a good villain, you have to have a villain that's, once they appear on screen, you need to feel fear. And the minute he broke out of ice and like stepped onto the screen, I felt genuine fear for the Autobots. Like, he's back and he wants to kick some butt. So yeah, like, yeah, that Megatron was really well done, in my opinion. Let's see, what are you guys saying? Let's see. Glad you found it? Yeah, I'm really glad. I'm glad you put me on there, Minty Tails. That was really cool. Rest in peace, Jazz, as well. Yeah, poor old Jazz. He was, like, really good in this film. It's a shame he had to go out, because Jazz is one of my favorites as well. Yeah. Let's see. Have you seen the Transformers Shattered Glass comics? I've read a few, Joe Garza. They're pretty good. I would like to see maybe a show based out of it. I was really annoyed when TF Animated, because they had plans to do a Shattered Glass episode. I was really disappointed when that didn't happen. I really love Barricade's voice in this movie. Yeah, Barricade, so most of the personalities were really on point, and a lot of the voices were good choices. But it's going back to the Decepticons, so Megatron I was happy with. The others' personalities for the most part were good, but their designs were mostly overkill. Like, Starscream looked like a Dorito. Barricade looked all spiky and insectoid, like, it's just, like, I remember when Barricade was fighting Bumblebee, you couldn't really even tell what was going on with all the weird pointy parts on his body. And that's a common thing throughout these films. The Decepticons' designs, like, I get maybe Michael Bay and the design team was trying to make the Decepticons look more overkill, but, I missaid that. I get Megatron, I get Michael Bay and the design team was trying to make the Decepticons look more menacing, but their designs were overkill. They just went way too far with it. Like, when you look at the Decepticons, like, in, other games and shows and everything, they do a good job sort of, but through color schemes and sort of some more menacing looks, like more menacing faces and everything, you could sort of tell they're, the bad guys. You don't have to go all out by making them really spiky and insect-like faces, animalistic hind legs, like, it's a bit too much. Let's see. Megatron really did kick butt, especially Jazz after wanting 2 pieces. Yeah, that was probably one of the most iconic parts of the film. You want a piece of me? No, I want. And again, also, well, in regards to Megatron, I don't know if I brought this up already, but in regards to Hugo Weaving's performance, I liked it. He did a really good job. But I still prefer Frank Welker. Again, I feel like films these days, they focus more on popularity over experience. Like, they try to go for big names to try and increase the popularity of the film, which I get, but sometimes it's better to just go with someone who knows the character and who can play the character well. Like, when Colleen O'Shaughnessy was able to reprise the role of Tails in the second film, really happy because they didn't try to go, because everyone was saying, oh, she's going to get replaced and everything, but the community got behind her, and they, because like, I didn't want her to get replaced, because Colleen's my favorite Tails. Well, my favorite official Tails. I kind of prefer the VAs I've got for Tails a bit more, but that's my opinion. But still. So, like, but overall, so yeah, I think maybe, let's see, how long have we been talking about this one? About 20 minutes? Okay. Let's see. Bone Crusher and Blackout Brawl look pretty cool, and Bone Crusher Bio was hilarious. Yeah, that's true. Let's see. So hello to Drake that just came in. The plot of these films can be very flawed, but the action scenes are very badass. It's a shame to me that many other people were introduced to this franchise because... Oh, I've got the subscriber thing turned off. Whoops. Hold on. Okay. Oh, Joe Garza subscribed. Oh, thank you. Okay, just turn that back on. Okay, let's see. Remember something about Hugo Weaving recording his Megatron lines over Skype. Oh, really? Huh, I did not know that, actually. Which is interesting, because, like, I know a bit about Hugo Weaving. I've seen him in a lot of other films, like The Matrix and The Lord of the Rings. And, of course, he's an Aussie actor as well, so you got to get behind your fellow Australians. But yeah, so I think we've gone on enough about this film. Not perfect, but overall it set a good foundation for what could have been a really good series going forward. However, rather than get, say, a big step up like we did in the Sonic films, we got this. And I give it this. Now, here's my thing. I actually don't mind Revenge of the Fallen. I felt this film had some of the best action sequences in the entire series. I particularly love the fight scene in the fight scene in the forest between Optimus, Megatron, Starscream, and Grindor. That was really cool. Like, the moment when Optimus sort of stepped up and was like, "You'll never stop at one. I'll take you all on." Like, the minute he did that and the music kicked in, oh, it was so good. And of course, the opening in Shanghai and that fight scene out at the and like the fight scene out in Egypt against Optimus and the Fallen, that was really cool. But this is where things sort of start to dip down a little bit. It's particularly in the story. Like, you'll find I'll be slamming the story most of all here. The storyline in this one wasn't the best. Essentially, it kind of, because in the, I didn't touch on that in the first one. In the first one, it clearly established an origin for the Transformers. The Allspark gave life to them in Cybertron, and then it sort of, where, like, the Allspark sort of was the life-giving entity that sort of, you know, brought life to Cybertron and everything that's, well, sort of the thing that started the war. All the Transformers started fighting over it. Let's see. A solid 7.5 for the first one? Yeah, I'd give it a 7.5, maybe an 8, but yeah. Hi, I just saw this one scene in Dark of the Moon with Simmons being badass trying to tell Megatron, let's see. That's cool. The Devastator transformation is the highlight for me. That's true, because again, like I said, the visual effects in this one were really well done. Like, they were definitely a step up, but however, the storyline sort of stepped down because they kind of changed the origin a bit. Now, I know some could say, oh, well, maybe it was just something that wasn't revealed. Like, you know, they didn't talk about the Fallen and everything because, you know, Optimus wasn't aware of it. But still, I think that was just a bit of it was kind of lazy writing in a way. It didn't really expand on anything. It just kind of rewrote something that wasn't already established. There was a lot of hokey humor in this one as well. Probably way more than the first one, which doesn't help for me. Like, you know, like, the humor is another thing that's really crippled the experience. Like, I get maybe you try to make people laugh, but to me it just makes me roll my eyes like, oh my god, what are you trying to do? And of course, this was where some other bad characters came in. Like, my two least favorite characters in this whole series, Skids and Mudflap, were in this film. And my god, I freaking hate those two. I get them meant to be the comedy characters, but man, they were so cringeworthy. Like, every time I saw them on screen, I just wanted to grab, like, an ion blast and just shoot them in the face. I hated those two. But we did get another good character. We did get Jetfire in here, and I know he was a bit different to normal Jetfire, but I actually really liked Jetfire in this one. It was a pretty good change for the character. I felt some of the sort of humorous moments with him weren't really well done, but I get all his abilities and his origins and everything I thought were really well done, so it certainly wasn't the worst take on Jetfire I've seen. And plus, him being an SR-71 Blackbird, that was really dope. But then again, they should have maybe gone with Silverbolt, because there was a Concorde in that air museum, and that's what Silverbolt was in G1, but oh well, that's just my opinion. My inner aviation geek's coming out there a little bit. Behind the scenes story for Devastator model was pretty funny. I think I've seen that one, Keldo, yeah. I think I know which one you're talking about. Skids and Mudflap are really racist stereotypes and poor characters. Yes, I agree with you on that one, Vector. Yeah, they're very poorly written. They're trying to be funny, and they're just not. They're just ridiculous. Let's see. Jetfire sacrificed himself to give Optimus his parts to Megatron. Fallen. Yep. Again, that was the other thing with Jetfire, how he gave his life, like literally ripped out his spark, so you know Optimus could take on Megatron the Fallen and win. So yeah, definitely. So again, yeah. So not really. I'm trying to think. What more can I say about this film? Let's see. We did get some more characters, like, you know, Soundwave and Ravage, but again, with the other Decepticons, their designs weren't the best. Very sort of too menacing, very spiky and insectoid. I get, you know, like I said, trying to make them more menacing, but just went too far on it. See, oh, don't forget crude humor, one of which being Devastator's literal junk. Yeah, that's true. Another Jetfire character in the older, earlier scripts where he's a friendly old man. Yeah, that's true. They kind of changed him up a little bit, but still. Armada callback. Yes, you're right. Actually, that was an Armada callback with that one Vector. Sort of being, getting to merge with Jetfire. 'Cause for those who don't know, Jetfire is my second favorite Transformer. Particularly G1 Jetfire, but I do like War for Cybertron Jetfire a lot as well. But yeah, so like, I thought Jetfire wasn't really done dirty specifically. It was just a bit different, but in the end, it wasn't a terrible change, and I was okay with it. And, again, music really well done. I felt like, some of the humans weren't really the best. Like, Simmons really didn't really do much there. Like, he kind of became cringeworthy. Sam Witwicky kind of lost that maturity that he got at the end. Again, I thought the military humans like Lennox and Epps, they were really well done. They were always really well written. General Morshow was another one. And I can't remember the guy's name, but he's that one guy from the National Security who wants them to leave Earth. Like, that's the one thing. You'll find I'll be slamming a lot of the humans in here, because I can't stand the humans in this series. They're very poorly, well, most of them are very poorly written, and, like, they're pretty much just all racist towards Transformers in a way. Particularly in the later films. Fallen, aka Megatronus, was kind of wasted potential. Yep, I agree. They could have probably maybe brought him in a different way, but didn't really work out. Let's see. Let's see. But, so, that's sort of Revenge of the Fallen, I guess. What more can I say about this film? I'm trying to think. Okay, and I think we're pretty much good with Revenge of the Fallen. I've said most things about it. It was just a bit of a step down. But in regards to this film, Dark of the Moon, again, another slight step down. Not, again, this film, I feel it's watchable. Mostly because it had a lot of really cool visual effects, particularly when it gets to Chicago. And one thing that I do like about this film was that how the story didn't change the Transformers' origins. It only went to, it sort of just revealed something. Like Sentinel Prime had a plan, and it failed. And it just got lost away for several years. So it wasn't like an origin change. It was just something that was trying to be revived by both the Decepticons and the Autobots, for that matter. But this film really did a lot of the characters dirty. Like, let's see, like a lot of the returning characters were done well, but, so yeah, see Anti-Maximal in there, they really did Wheeljack dirty, you're right. They did Wheeljack dirty. They did, well, I say Dino, but that was meant to be Mirage, so they did Mirage dirty. Let's see, well, we lost Skids and Mudflap, which was really good. Let's see. Also, you had Wheelie and Brains in here. Not particularly fond of those two. And let me think. Of course, the humans again, like, you know, like most of the humans are somewhat cringeworthy. You had, I can't remember her name, but she was like was she National Intelligence? I think maybe, I can't remember, but I'm sure you guys remember. She's that one human that was always really, she tried to, you know, just blame everything on the Autobots, sort of said humans have to say and everything, and it's just like, come on, cut them some slack, you bitch. Pardon my language. And trust me, I'm gonna have to really work hard to fight some words in here, guys, because I can really go on about how much I hate these films. But, let's see. Again, the visual effects were done really well, like, you know, the fights in Chicago, like I said. Optimus versus Sentinel, that kept me on the edge of my seat. It was almost like, you know, the whole master versus apprentice sort of thing. Speaking of Sentinel, in regards to him, the whole idea of him being a villain, bit of a change. I felt maybe it could have been executed a little better, because I get, you know, he's trying to restore Cybertron, but the fact that he was the one that taught Optimus that freedom was the right of all sentient beings, and he's essentially taken that aback by trying to, kill the humans and everything. I'm like, mate, did you forget what you told Optimus? Like, do you not value the life of these beings like he does? It's like, you were supposed to be his mentor. Like, it's almost like Sentinel just had a big change of heart through, I don't know if Megatron manipulated him or what the deal was, but still, yeah, I feel maybe Sentinel, I think I'm fine with him being a villain. I just felt they could have executed it a little better. Let's see. They kill off Ironhide? Yes, you are correct with that one, Goku and Luz. That's my next thing. They killed Ironhide. something I was very, very unhappy about because, as I said when we were talking about the first film, Ironhide was one of the best characters in that. Aside from the design, he was like practically on point. His personality was good. His voice was good. And they killed him off, and I'm like, why? Like, that's the other thing. This is where they sort of really start killing off a lot of fan favorites. Like, you know, we lost Starscream, and like, I know Starscream looked like a Dorito, but the thing is, but his personality was really on point. Like, we get glimpses of how he tries to overthrow Megatron and everything. So, again, we lost a lot of fan favorites in this film, which is real sad. Let's see. Bayverse isn't Bayverse without Ironhide and Sideswipe. Yeah, and that's the other thing, because we don't really know what happened to well, and that's probably more something for when we talk about the next film, but Sideswipe was another character that I thought was a really good addition. Again, his design was a bit different, but his personality was very on point, being like, you know, a dual-bladed speed skater, as people like to call him. Like, the idea of him being on wheels and everything, that was cool. But yeah, to be honest, I think I preferred the Dark of the Moon game over this film itself, because unlike the game, it really, because the game was like a prequel, and it made things look interesting. Sort of how the Autobots were trying to prevent Shockwave's revival and everything. Speaking of Shockwave, that whole scene with the driller and everything, that was really cool. Like, I don't think we had seen CG of that level in any of these films, so getting to see a giant monster like that, and the fact that it was like Shockwave's pet, that's also pretty ridiculous. So, basically, like, yeah, so Shockwave I thought was a pretty good addition, but in the end, it's almost kind of like, you know, he just kind of, I guess you could say Shockwave just kind of, I would have liked to have just seen more of him, really. That's all I could really say. I can never forgive Sentinel because this is the movie I vowed never to purchase any figures of Sentinel. Yeah, I think everyone holds a grudge against Sentinel for killing off Ironhide. But actually, speaking of the Decepticons, like, another thing I forgot to mention in the last one, Megatron in this film and Revenge of the Fallen really take a down step, because what I always loved about Megatron is how he's always the one that tries to be the head honko. He tries to be the one in charge. Like, in Revenge of the Fallen, he says, "In death, there is no command but mine." And in the next scene, it cuts to him bowing down to the Fallen. I'm like, did you just forget what you said? Now, I know some could say Megatron's like the general and Sentinel, and the Fallen's like the king, but still, like, in the end, that's not what Megatron's about. Megatron doesn't bow down to anyone. He bows down to himself and only himself. That's the only one he takes orders from. And of course, one could say Sentinel manipulated Megatron here, but still, it's almost like you think Megatron will be smarter than that. And like, compared to how well Megatron was done in the first film, like, he was menacing, he was scary, he was like, you know, the main threat. In here, he just kind of took a back seat. Like, it's just kind of like, he's supposed to be like the main antagonist of these things, and he's not. Like, seriously? It's like, do they, like, you think with the name Megatron, like, that's a scary name. It's like, you know, you'd think he'd want to be, like, I don't know. I could probably just go on a bit more, but I think you guys get the idea. It's just, Megatron's just been done dirty in these past two films. They just really destroyed what he could have been. They could have made him more menacing. They could have made him even, you know, maybe done something even fancier with him, but no, it just wasn't really done well. Let's see, what are you guys saying in the chat? As a kid, I confused Shockwave over an Insecticon. Well, that's true, actually, because of Shockwave's mouth and everything. He definitely had that Insecticon vibe. Let's see. The worst things in this movie are Shockwave, who does nothing important on the plot, and Ironhide dies. Yeah, exactly. As I said with Shockwave, we needed more of him. Like, he showed promise for being a really big threat, but we don't really see him. We see him at the beginning, and then we see him sort of toward the end of Chicago, and that's it, until Optimus kills him. Like, he didn't really do anything. Clay Knight says, hey, guess what? What's up, Clay Knight? What do you got? Dark of the Moon game prequel? Yeah. I agree there. The game prequel to, the prequel to Dark of the Moon I enjoyed way more than this. Let's see. Maybe could have done something about Dark Energon. Maybe. That's not a bad idea. Let's see. I still find it funny that Shockwave's pet worm did more than him. Yeah, exactly. Like, that was the real major. That was the star of that, not Shockwave. Forget Shockwave. Like, the Driller was the real. That was the real star. There's a pipe bomb in my mailbox. Well, I don't have a mailbox, so I'm not sure how that works, but anyway. Let's see. The Wreckers were underused, but they were still pretty cool. Yeah, the Wreckers showed potential. I don't think their personality was really on point, but, you know, they were there. I prefer, like, the whole idea of the Wreckers in TF Prime, like, with Wheeljack and Grimlock. Oh, not Grimlock. Wheeljack and Bulkhead. That was definitely could have been better, but, you know, that's what it is. Well, hello, Wade. I see you've showed up. I feel like you will need as positive guy, and you'll need a... Hold on. I feel like you will need as a positive guy in this stream, because I got a bone to pick with you. What, so did you enjoy these movies, Wade, or not? Because I did say at the start here, guys, if you guys like these live-action movies, that's fine. That's your opinions. And I said before at the start, I enjoyed... hold on. Wait, hold up. I enjoyed this film, and we'll get to another one I enjoyed, but most of these... It says in the title, why I hate most of these films. Not all of them, most. So I'm just being clear there, guys. But, you know. Let's see. Sorry, mate, what did I miss? Just me talking about, just sort of the first two films, and we're going through the third one right now. Autobot Unit 37, so you didn't miss, we missed a little bit, but nothing too crazy. Dark of the Moon ending that got leaked was leagues better than the original. I'm not really sure what that one was going to involve, Keldo. What was that original ending meant to involve? That's another thing, the Wreckers without Springer. Oh, yes, you're right, exactly. So, yeah, but, like, yeah, like, again, they sort of could have just done a lot of things better with these films, but, ultimately, it just kind of, you know, it just didn't really work out. Let's see. Alright, but I think I've said enough about maybe Dark of the Moon. So I'm going to go ahead and let's jump ship to... So we've still got some positives in here, but it's not really looking good. Now, brace yourselves for this next one, guys. Because, oh boy, this is where things are going to get really negative. I think we can all agree the tie-in video games are a much better experience. Yes, I agree. Because the games, you at least got to interact with them. And you got to, like, you got to, like, do damage yourself, but... Yeah, so, you know. But still. But regardless, let's see. Let's start talking... So where do I begin with this one? Age of Extinction. Where do I begin? I'll just say it. This is a pile of scrap. If someone gave me this as a birthday present or a Christmas present, I would, no joke, blowtorch it in their face. I effing hate this film. Same with the next one, but... Yeah, may as well talk about it. So... What do I not like about this one? And like I said, like, you know, if you guys enjoy these films, that's fine, but this is one of my least favorites. Ultimately because of just, well, you know how I said earlier, I was probably going to really start slamming the humans? Yeah, I'm going to slam them the most in here. Because as I said before, the humans in here are just terrible. Like, they're pretty much, the whole human population's really, it's like practically racist towards Transformers. And, like, they pretty much see, like, all Transformers as, like, enemy, as, like, you know, threats. But the thing is, they don't get that... It's almost kind of like how you see people these days who say, like, you know, like all Germans are Nazis sort of thing. And I don't believe that. You know, not all Germans were Nazis. It's almost... But that's the way the humans look at Transformers. Like, you know, it's like the thing. Yes, some of them were evil. Some of them were Decepticons. But not all Transformers were Decepticons. So... You gotta remember, the Autobots here, yes, they couldn't save everyone, but they did their best. Like, it's like, come on, guys, have a heart. Like, you know what I mean? Like, the way they were treated in here, and, like, the way the government... Because I think the initial plan of the government was they were allowed to remain in hiding, but they couldn't really cause any harm, and if they did, then the humans would retaliate. But then you had Cemetery Wind come in, and they were just hunting them down for no reason, because they were just a bunch of cold-blooded killers. And essentially they were disobeying their own government's orders, which... Like, again, I'm fighting words here, guys. I could go way harder on the humans in here. But no, yeah, the humans in this film were, like, they were just downright terrible. Like, they were cruel, they were poorly written, like, most of their personalities were pretty terrible. But, anyway, it's just, like, you know... See, oh boy, Age of Extinction, the only one of these travesties I watched in theaters, yeah... Let's see. This film was a huge downgrade, but the music was still cool and Lockdown was cool. Yes, so I'll say that. Lockdown, I liked him as a villain. Because Lockdown, he was neutral. He sees both sides as like squabbling children. That's a good trait for Lockdown. He, he's neutral. He doesn't give a scrap. He doesn't give a scrap about sort of what each side does. If he's offered a good deal, he'll kill them. And that's what you expect from someone like Lockdown, who's a bounty hunter. He doesn't really care. He's like a mercenary, as long as someone gives him a good price, he'll do the job. Like, he doesn't think much of the humans, but if they offer him a good deal, he'll take it. So, again, Lockdown, really menacing. Like, he was the main villain in this film, not Galvatron. He was the main villain. Him and Cemetery Wind, they were the main villains in this film. Let's see. Thank you, Louis, someone who noticed. Is that in regards to the whole sort of thing I said about, how, I said not all Transformers are Decepticons, like the whole comparison with, like the Nazis and everything? Because that's just the way I look at it. Like, it's just, that's the way they were treated. Like, the humans just throw all blame on them, with the exception of a few. Like, like K. Diego sort of came around and he saw that, okay, so the Autobots, they had nothing to do with it, really, but, Let's see, I'll never forgive how they killed Ratchet. Yep, we lost Ratchet in this one as well. Let's see. The worst abomination of this film was Galvatron. He absolutely sucked. Yes, Galvatron had, like, no abilities whatsoever. He, like, he wasn't the main villain. He showed up every now and then. And, like, he pretty much, like, yes, he tried to make an army through, like, all of the KSI drones and everything, but still, he practically did nothing. Like, and during that whole battle in Shanghai, well, I think it was Shanghai. Was it Shanghai? Or was it Hong Kong? I can't remember, but still, like, but yeah, like, trust me, like, yeah, Galvatron was a huge disappointment. I think the initial plan was to actually name him Motormaster, which would have been fitting given his vehicle form. But they decided to go with Galvatron because, like, Galvatron is, like, meant to be like a reformed version of Megatron, but that was probably just a really big mistake, to be honest. Let's see. Hello, talking about Transformers films. Yes, we are, Antonio. I'm just really slamming on why I hate most of these live-action Transformers movies. These are getting interesting. Let's see. I would hire Lockdown to destroy HBO for creating... Oh, you guys talking about Velma? I haven't seen that show, really, but, nor do I really think I want to. I'm more a casual Scooby-Doo fan, but, nah, that show doesn't really look appealing to me. Age of Extinction was my favorite because they got the Dinobots. Okay, speaking of the Dinobots, I'll agree. The Dinobots were a really cool addition. People have been wanting them for years. Their designs, for the most part, I thought were really cool. Particularly their dino forms. I feel like, though, they were lacking personality. Like, Grimlock didn't speak. None of them spoke. And it just doesn't really feel the same when they don't speak. It's like, the Dinobots are always known for having personalities, being very little intelligent. It's almost like, they have more brawn over brain. But yeah, the Dinobots were definitely a good addition. I thought they were arguably one of the best things of this film. Again, I said that I feel they were lacking a lot of personality, but still, the designs were cool, their abilities were cool. And then, like, but still, like, we should have probably gotten more of the Dinobots, I feel like. I would have liked to have seen maybe, like, half the film with them. But still. Let's see. In the ending of the movie, Optimus stabs Lockdown from behind and says, "Honor till the end." That's true. Like, Optimus getting that... In regards to... Because a lot of the characters got a redesign in this film. I thought Optimus's redesign was okay. Like, trying to make him more like a knight. Which, of course, will lead into the next film. But I thought the design was pretty good. It wasn't... I still prefer the other Optimus, but still. Yeah, the sword, getting that long sword, as you can see there in the image. That I thought was, I thought that was a really cool weapon for him to get. But then again, Optimus really showed that he really kind of... This is where sort of bloodthirsty Optimus really came out. And I know some people sort of complain saying that Optimus sort of, in these films, kind of being very different to G1 hurts the core essence for what he stands for. But honestly, I kind of see it as a bit more of a realistic approach. Because Optimus has gone through so much crap throughout these films, like, particularly from the humans, like, they've given him nothing but problems, he's watched so many of his brethren die, like, if that was you, like, you watch all your best friends, your family die, and all these people, and, like, the humans you've tried so hard to protect are just trying to kill you now for, like, trying to help? It's like, come on, mate. Like, that's just wrong. That's just cruel. Like, I'm gonna be real here. I don't blame Optimus for being bloodthirsty in these films. If anything, I have compassion for him. Because if that was me, I would, like, you know, wipe out anyone that stood in my way. I'd feel so much pain and agony. Like, because I remember that one scene in KSI when, oh, I can't remember his name, but that one, the head of KSI sort of said to him, like, we don't need you anymore, and then Optimus kind of just looked at him with a look on his face, and I could tell he wanted to blast the crap out of him. He wanted to just blow him to smithereens, but he constrained himself. And frankly, I wouldn't blame him if he did shoot him. And then again, Optimus did kill a human in the end, but still, like, you know. So that's the thing, like, whilst, yes, this Optimus is very different and very bloodthirsty, he has reason to be. Like, you know, he's gone through so much, and it's almost kind of like, it's like when you look at, say, like when you look at a character that's been through a lot, like when you look at Shadow the Hedgehog, for instance, like, sure, he probably wasn't this extreme, but when you look at how, you know, after losing Maria, like, you could see why he wanted revenge on the humans. Sure, maybe that's not what Maria wanted, but, you know, essentially, do you blame Shadow for taking it out on the humans? Like, because they took away everything from him? In some ways, you can understand where he's coming from. It's a similar thing with this. Imagine if Optimus' sword in this movie was the Star Saber. That would be cool, actually. Because, I mean, I think the Star Saber's a much cooler weapon than that sword, but still. Because I'm not sure what this sword is called, but still. But, yeah, like, I mean, trust me, this film, what more can I say? There's more I want to say. What more can I say? I just really want to instill that this film is garbage. Just a question, did you see the trailer for the new film Rise of the Beasts? I did. I'm going to get to Rise of the Beasts toward the end of this, because I will touch upon Rise of the Beasts, but you know. Got some water there, guys. Sorry about that. It's just, let's see. Hey, Rui, who would win, 6-Shot or Doomsday? I'll go 6-Shot, and by the way, Claynat, just take it easy on the spamming. I've got some new rules in the stream chat. Yeah, so to everyone who's come in, I've got some new stream rules in the description. So make sure you give those a read. Make sure you're all obliging by that. But yeah, so, you know. I realized that Optimus was pissed because he lost his old friend Ratchet. Exactly, yeah, like, and when you look at it, like, he's lost so many, and it's just like, do you really blame him for wanting to just, you know, take it out? Like, just sort of get some payback? Like, how much can one take when they've lost everything? Well, Optimus just avenged his old friend Ratchet. Exactly, like, you know, like, normally, let's see, even Optimus managed to kill Lockdown for revenge for Ratchet. Exactly, yeah, like, but the thing is, like, you know, Optimus, he's, all this, it's one of those things, it's like, you know, all this sort of aggression over the course of, probably, I'd say, since Revenge of the Fallen, all this aggression has been building up within this one bot, and then, all of a sudden, it's like, how long is it until, once the bottle gets full, it spills out? So eventually, probably seeing them melting away Ratchet, that was the tipping point. That's when Optimus was like, enough. We're taking these guys down, and we're gonna make them pay. So essentially, it's almost one of those things. It's like, how much can one take until, like, how long until someone who's endured so many negative things has had enough? Until someone snaps. That's essentially what's happened here with Optimus. And honestly, I've always sort of, like, so I'm not really, and this is the thing, I should be clear, Optimus in these films I've always somewhat liked. Sure, he's not quite G1, but, you know. But, yeah, like, again, guys, I'm sort of running out of words here. Like, I'm just trying to just instill how much I really don't like these films. It's just, you know. Also, Optimus said, we're not your technology. Exactly. The humans started to think that, you know, okay, we've harnessed your technology. We own it now, like, sort of thing. Again, I hate the effing humans in this series. I hate them! I'm getting aggressive now, aren't I? Sorry, guys. But again, this is what these films do to me. They just make me angry. They've done my character... I've loved these characters from a kid, and they've done them so dirty. Alright, but you know what? I'm going to move on. I'm going to move on to the next film before this becomes a terrible fest. This probably isn't going to help this film, because this film was just as bad. Transformers, the last Nazi. Don't forget the humans thought that the best thing to do was to kill the Autobots and revive the Decepticons. Well, I don't think they even knew they were reviving the Decepticons. They didn't even know they were sort of rebuilding Megatron in a way. They were just kind of unintentionally. Oh, hold on. Did the music stop? Oh. Yes. Sorry, guys. Okay. But, I mean, that's the thing, like, so in the... Let's see. Film has similar plot points to Dreamwave Prime's directive. The Decepticons wanted to turn Earth to metal. The war restarting and the humans wanting to use the Transformers for war. In a way, yeah, I didn't read a lot of Dreamwave's comics. I was more into the IDW comics, but, you know. This movie is the biggest piece of dookie. Thank you, Vector. Thank you. Someone agrees. This film was garbage. And oh, actually, that's the other thing I forgot to mention in the last film. Like, because when it came to Age of Extinction and this film, the first thing I'm going to touch on, they kept on changing the origins of the Transformers. Like, in Age of Extinction, they sort of came out and said, like, they showed that scene at the opening at prehistoric times with the dinosaurs, where, like, everyone sort of, like, these ancient creatures were harvesting transformium or whatever it was called, and, like, they were using that to make Transformers. And then in this film, Prime gets to Cybertron, and he finds out Quintessa was the one that created Cybertron and the Transformer race and Optimus and everything. So it's like, is Quintessa one of those aliens? Or did those aliens make Quintessa or what? Like, you see what I mean? Like, this is where the story becomes a big mess. Like, the whole story just really becomes a huge mess. Like, they just keep on changing the origins because they just run out of ideas. That's what you call bad writing. Like, you're supposed to... Like I said, the first warning sign was with Revenge of the Fallen, where, now of course one could say it was something that wasn't revealed, they just didn't really execute it properly. But the way they've done it in these films, they've essentially sort of retconned the Allspark, they've retconned the Fallen and his brothers, they've sort of just retconned everything with every new film. It's ridiculous. Like, it's just kind of like, it's like, are these really still intertwined? Like, it's just, let's see. The Last Night was lame. Optimus used to kill when necessary, but now he just kills when he gets the time. Exactly, yeah. Let's see. The Last Night debunked everything. Exactly, yeah. This film just completely changed everything. Like, it's like, and of course, like, and again, the humans were no real better. Like, I was not a fan of, I can't remember her name, but, she was one of the professors at, like, Oxford or whatever. Like I say, I can't really bother remembering. What was her name? Wembley? I can't remember. But yeah, like I said, yeah, the humans in here were pretty cringeworthy. Cade was alright, but, yeah, the humans in here were pretty garbage. Like, and again, the TRF, they were essentially, I mean, I was glad we got Lennox back as well. Like, because again, he was still alright. Like, it was clear that he didn't change, and he believed in the whole not all Transformers sort of thing, because he knew the Autobots were not evil. They just wanted a home. But of course, all the other, you know, TRF that they work with, they just want to kill them all off because they think they're all evil. Which they're not. It's like, again, as I said before, it's like the whole thing with the Nazis. Not all Germans were Nazis. Like, not all Transformers were Decepticons. It's the same exact thing. It's like, this is where things just really went off the rails. And I'm pretty sure this was where the film team realized, okay, this isn't working. Because I think they were too busy focusing on, like, hold on. Okay. Like, I think the team and everything, they were focusing more on the money that was coming in, because Dark of the Moon and Age of Extinction made over $1 billion at the box office, and this film didn't really get anywhere near that. I think it fell about 200 grand short of what they were targeting. But, like, essentially, they should have realized this whole fatigue, because they were focusing more on the finance rather than what the fans were saying. And so it should be clear as well, the Western audience really did not enjoy these films. It was the Eastern audience that did. So everyone sort of in, like, China and Asia and everything really enjoyed most of these films, but the Western audience, I think, sort of around Revenge of the Fallen really dropped off. And, like, the thing is, they weren't listening to the fans. They were just focusing on they were treating Transformers as their cash cow, basically. They just kept on, you know, just milking in all that millions of dollars. And it wasn't until this film where they came to realize, like, okay, now we need to change it up. Like, it took them long enough. Like, Like, that's the other thing. Like, they just sort of... They didn't really put any thought. They just sort of... And like I said, the visual effects were really well done, but there was just visual eye candy, really. It didn't really... Aside from... Yes, it looked good and all, but all the visual effects were just visual eye candy. The story was poorly written. Most of the characters were really poorly written. Some... You know... Again, I'm sort of just repeating myself at this point, but... Still, I think it's just always good to let off some steam here, and that's what I wanted to do here, like... Because I've given you guys snippets as to why I don't like these films, but I feel like this is just a good way for me to just get everything off my chest and just say why I hate these films so much. Let's see, what are you guys saying? The movie was boring and is the worst. Yeah, exactly. I'll give it credit though. Tried to make the Decepticons cool with mixed results, and Nitro Zeus was the only good one. Yeah, I mean, I thought Megatron's design was pretty cool, and we got Frank Welker back, which I was really happy about. But still, yeah, like Megatron again, he was just like hanging out the back. He wasn't like the main antagonist, which he should be. Let's see. Optimus lost his friends, Jazz, Einheit, Leader 1, RC, Warrior. Level. Yeah, exactly. Because what you said there, Goku, the reason why Optimus is so brutal now is because he's watched so many of his friends die, and he's just kind of, you know, got all that aggression built up inside of him. He's got to let it out. The good thing about this film was Barricade's new design. It's now he's designing some versions of G1. Yes, that's true. A lot of the character designs in this were improved. Barricade's was better. I feel like, I mean, I thought some of the Autobots' designs were sort of okay. Like, I like Drift's design. I thought Crosshair's design was cool. Hound, yeah, I guess, but he just looked too humanoid in my opinion, though. Good thing they stopped before they could ruin my main man, Unicron. Yes, I'm really glad they did not bring Unicron in here. I think there's I could be wrong, but I think I've heard, like, a fan film of, like, it's called, like, The Rise of Unicron. Like, because I get the whole idea of Unicron being in Earth, like, you know, in Transformers Prime. I'm sure that's where they got the whole idea from. But still, like... Oh, hold on a sec. Okay. But yeah, like, it's just, like, you know... But yeah, Unicron could have just been so much better. Well, if anything, they didn't really do much with Unicron, though, anyway. That was the thing. Like, you know, you didn't really get to see him transform. Like, and everyone was sort of thinking that, like, yeah, it's just, you know... Again, like, if they did make another follow-up to this film, it probably would have just ended up being, like, a, just a huge mistake. And I think that's when they realized with Bumblebee's solo film they had to change it up. Let me see. So, what are you guys saying? Let's see. This is what I first find complicated by Megatron, is that in the very first film he's a serious threat. By evolving in time he becomes less. Exactly, that's what I've sort of been saying, Marvel Zombies. Like, threat. Like in the first film, Megatron was really well done. He was scary. When you see him on screen, you felt fear for the heroes. But now you just sort of see him as just like an obstacle in their way. He's like, he's not the main villain. He's just serving the main villain. He's like he's a servant. It's like, that's not what Megatron's meant to be. Megatron doesn't serve anyone. Nothing in this movie does sense, like how Galvatron becomes Megatron again, and what importance to the plot the luck charm had. Exactly. You're right, like, you know, it's just, you know, and you're sort of going back to, like, and again, like, some things were cool. Like, I thought Dragonstorm was a really cool character, like a giant combiner, like a three-headed dragon. And, like, again, there's some cool concepts and everything, which is something all these films have, but they just don't execute them properly. Like, I feel like these films show a perfect example of some cool ideas done wrong. Like, they could have done so much more with these really cool ideas they had, but in the end, it just sort of, it just didn't come off properly. Let's see. Come. Let's see. Also, I don't know how to top spin Still Alive in Dark of the Moon. I'm not sure about that one, Autobot Unit. Fun fact, in original concept art of the last night, he would have transformed into a dragon. It gave me Beast Wars Transmetal 2 vibes. Oh, okay, so is that what Megatron was meant to transform into? Because it's funny, because I remember actually when the trailer first dropped for The Last Night, everyone was saying, oh, that's going to be Megatron in like a new form or something. But I was like, are you sure? That seems a bit too big to be Megatron. And plus, Megatron landed on Earth back in the 1800s, and he was in the ice. That can't be Megatron. But then again, given how they retcon everything in these films, I wouldn't have put it past me. Aspect ratio kept changing in every single scene. Oh, wow, I can't believe someone else noticed that, Vector. You're right. Like, yeah, like, aspect ratio kept changing. They just didn't really, you know... Like, what positives were even in this film? I'm trying to think. I mean, we got Cogman. He was really funny. He was probably a humorous character done right, in my opinion. He was like C-3PO, but a lot crazier. But other than that, like, I mean, what else do we have? And plus, another thing in The Last Night was that, this doesn't really go for the film, but literally, they released 4 main trailers in the lead up to the film. They pretty much gave away the whole plot. Like, that, I get some people who could say, oh, you're supposed to dodge trailers and everything, but trailers are supposed to give you a snippet. They're not supposed to give away everything. And, like, the fact that they released 4 mainstream trailers, plus so many TV spots and everything, essentially spoiled the whole film. It's just kind of like, do you people... It's like, you know... I don't know why the director of the Bayverse movie kept messing up the origin, where Quintessa is still alive or dead. Yeah, exactly, and that's the whole thing. It's like, yeah. I think we can all agree that this film's just utter garbage. Like... And it's funny, after I walked out of the theater and I saw this, I'm like, I'm probably not going to watch another Transformers movie. Another live action one. Now, of course, I did see Bumblebee, but I'll get to that in a bit. But yeah, I remember walking out of this, and I sort of started to contemplate, I could see why people have been avoiding these films for years. Like, I probably won't watch another one. Like I said, if they make another film that's tied into this universe, like, if they make a sequel to this film, I'm not going to see it. Believe me, I'm not going to go see it. I don't care who's in it, I'm not going to see it. If they make a sequel to The Last Night, not going to happen. Let's see, you guys talking about Hot Rod, I see. Yeah, Hot Rod wasn't done right, like, you know. I thought the vehicle form was a good choice, being a Lamborghini. But of course, making him French and the voice, like, that was not a good choice. And his design was okay, I guess, but it didn't really look much like Hot Rod. It just looked like a recolor of Bumblebee. Which I get Hot Rod was meant to be Bumblebee's brother-in-arms, but still, it just didn't really fit. Exactly, I just remember Hot Rod's horrible design, you're right. Like I said, the design itself wasn't the worst, but like I said, it just didn't really look like Hot Rod. It looked like a Bumblebee recolor. Andrew Zeus was the one good things about The Last Night, who was the only Decepticon with personality. He did have a personality, but even then, I wasn't particularly fond of his personality, a bit too gangster for my opinion. And plus, he was a Shockwave recolor as well, or a Shockwave retool. That's another thing with these films, they just started often reusing a lot of, characters. Now, I get for certain characters like, you know, Starscream and the Seekers, you know, that's fine, but in this film, they didn't really have any relation whatsoever. Like, they're just sort of reusing modes because they can, just to save on money. And it's just kind of like, are you guys just lazy or what? Oh, let's see. Jobby the Hong is an avid hater. Yeah, I'm aware that he's an avid hater of these films, and I don't blame him. I hate these things as well. These things are just absolute garbage. So since when Bumblebee has a hammer? You know, because that's true, because I remember when Bumblebee first had that hammer, everyone thought it was the Forge of Solus Prime, because it looked a lot like the Forge of Solus Prime, but no, it's just, he just got that hammer out of nowhere. It's just like, there's no explanation on these things. Like, there's too many loose ends. But, yeah, I think I've rambled on long enough about this film. I think you guys get the idea. It's not done well, it's really poor, and, yeah. Just lots of characters were done dirty, and it just left a bad taste in every viewer's mouth, I think. I don't know a single person that liked this film, to be honest. But let's get to a more positive note, I think. We'll turn this off. Because here's one, because I think we've done enough negativity. Let's get more positive vibes going. This film, and I'm just going to come off and say, Travis Knight, you are a godsend, my... Travis Knight saved everything, like, and even then, like, he probably could have done so much more with this, but because so many team members were producers on this film, like Michael Bay was a producer, Lorenzo Di Bonaventura was a producer, sort of thing, like, unfortunately he couldn't go all the way with this film, but, you know, he was an absolute godsend on this one. Like, because this film did everything right. This is what we wanted for a Transformers film from the get-go. Let's see. Yeah, Vector with that reaction. Yes, yes. This film is the best, without a doubt. Let's see. Transformers is the best? Yeah, it sort of depends which Transformers you look at there. Naomi, Irene, Leon the Hedgehog, but still. Let's see. Me and my dad went and saw this film and I loved it. Yes, this film is the best. Like, because like I said with The Last Night, I said I probably wasn't going to go see another live-action Transformers film, but when I saw the trailers for this, I was thinking, alright, you know what? This shows promise. I'm going to go check it out. And I did, and I loved it. I saw it with many of my friends, and yeah, I freaking love this film. It's so good. It was just really well done. Like, you know, the characters look so much better. They were much more pleasing to the eyes. Like, and they did real well sort of incorporating elements from other films. Like, when you look at B, very reminiscent of G1. The only difference is, of course, his head and face, but I'm willing to accept that because, you know, they didn't want to change things too drastically. Because I think the initial plan was this film was to be sort of a prequel to the 2007 film whilst giving it a soft reboot. But I'm pretty sure now, from what I've heard, it's the start of a fresh new universe. I don't think it's related to the Bay films, if my knowledge serves me correctly. Let's see. The Bumblebee movie, I like the remaster when there's Wheeljack RC Brawn. Yeah, that's opening scene on Cybertron. That was so amazing. That was the perfect way to open the film. You know, Optimus came in. All the characters looked just like they were ripped out of the G1 show. Like, and speaking of which, actually, speaking of the characters, in regards to Dylan O'Brien's performance of Bumblebee, loved it. Really good job. I really hope B gets to speak again in what's it called, Rise of the Beasts, because like I said at the start of this recording, I think I feel like he was like the whole B losing his voice has sort of done its course. So I'm hoping by the time we get to Rise of the Beast, it's been fixed by maybe Wheeljack or something, but we'll see. But still, yeah, like for the moments where B did speak, like really well done, good choice of voice. Let's see. But yeah, I think like let me see. Like, I know some people sort of complain that this film didn't have as much action. It was just one character rather than a big cast, which I get, but still, the thing is, you gotta remember with this film is like, they're dealing with a smaller budget, and it's meant to be a character-focused film. And I don't care if it's just a smaller cast, because this is just way better. I thought Cliff was supposed to be B's brother. I don't think, well, again, that's sort of where some characters looked similar. I don't think Cliffjumper's meant to be related to B at all. Again, though, it's a shame we lost Cliffjumper again, because like he's been done dirty way too many times, and I know people often ask me, is he going to be killed in Sonic and the Autobots? No, he's not. I'm going to make sure Cliff's done properly, because he's definitely a big favorite of mine, so yeah, I'm going to make sure Cliff's done properly. See, this movie pretty much spits in faces of everyone who said the G1 designs wouldn't work. You're right, Dangness, you are absolutely right. Because, I remember watching the behind the scenes of this film, and they said part of the reason, like, everyone in G1, they were very boxy and everything in that show, which is true. And they sort of said some of those designs wouldn't translate well. So rather than make a fresh design, they altered them. And this shows you how you should do it. Like, they make the G1 character, like, this is probably, like, and everyone can instantly tell, oh, that's Bumblebee, oh, that's Optimus, oh, that's RC. Like, everyone can easily tell who the character is. You don't have to, like, look at the cast list and be like, who's this? Oh, that's Starscream. Okay, never mind. Like, that's the thing. Like, the design... Like, I can't go on about how good the designs are in this film. And they're followed up in Rise of the Beast, which I'm really happy with. Let's see. What are you guys saying in here? Though Travis Knight was hindered by Paramount, they kept trying to say that this part of the Bayverse, which is No, it's a reboot. No, it's a soft reboot. It's a reboot. You're right, Keldo. Yeah, they kept changing their minds. At first, it was meant to be tied into the Bay films, but from what I've heard, I think they've changed it now that it is the start of a new cinematic universe. Again, don't quote me on this, guys. That's what I've heard from other like experts, but you know. Let's see. Let's see. Speaking of characters, Shadow and Dropkick, your thoughts? I thought they were good. I thought they were particularly good, especially design-wise. They were, like, I felt they were, their personalities were really good. Like, Dropkick's sort of like, he's like a no-nonsense kind of guy, which is sort of something you'd expect from a Decepticon, just, you know, less talk, more action. Shadow, of course, was really, definitely sort of menacing, but she did it in a good way that she wasn't like, you know... Like, I think it makes sense why she would be the leader of that little pairing. And props to Angela Bassett. She did a great job as the voice of Shadow. And the idea of them being triple changes as well, really cool. We haven't really seen much of triple changes, so I think that was a good call. But speaking of triple changes, I wasn't sold on how they did Blitzwing. One, he wasn't a triple changer, and Blitzwing's meant to be one of the original triple changes from the G1 series. But also, everyone thought he was Starscream. He looked way too much like Starscream. And, like, I remember watching the clip where Travis Knight confirmed, like, because everyone was saying, oh, dude, check out how good Starscream looks. And then a few weeks later, he came out and said, I'm going to break a few hearts here today. It's not Starscream. And literally the audience reaction was like, oh, what? Like, everyone was like, well, who is it then? Like everyone was in disbelief and everything. Oh, thank you, Air, for subscribing. That means a lot. Thank you. Yeah, Dankness is right. Yeah, the only negative is the way they portrayed Blitzwing. You're right. And here's the thing, though. Like, so, yes, Blitzwing... And everyone thought Blitzwing was going to be the main seeker and everything, but he wasn't. He was killed, like, within 5 minutes. Which is kind of... was a real shame, because Blitzwing's is always a really... Well, I've always been particularly fond of how he's... Oh, did we get another subscriber? Or is that just a repeat? I'm not sure. But, I mean... Regardless of, What was I going to say? Oh, yeah. So here's the thing. So from what I've heard, I've heard plenty of rumors that say that Travis Knight initially wanted to make Blitzwing Starscream, but Paramount and lots of the other producers like Michael Bay and Lorenzo Di Bonaventura intervened and said, well, no, we've got Starscream like this, so he's got to be someone else. And I've even heard rumors that say that Travis Knight wanted to bring Megatron in for like a scene or two, and he couldn't because, you know, like, ultimately, Travis Knight was really held back, which was a real shame. And I think that might be part of the reason why he's not returning for Rise of the Beast. Like, he was just held back too much. Because the thing is, like, Travis Knight was a hardcore G1 fan as a kid. And I wouldn't be surprised if he was sitting in the theater watching all the other films. And he was probably just like, no, guys, this isn't how you're supposed to do it. Like, he was probably feeling the same pain we all were when we were watching those films. So he's come in and he's done it properly. So, Travis, I'm sure you're not watching this, but if he is... Travis Knight, I applaud you, mate. You've done so many good things, and I'm a big fan of your work. Question, though, did they have to shoehorn John Cena into this movie? I don't really know. Honestly, I thought John Cena was a pretty good fit for the character, because I actually kind of liked Agent Burns. I thought was one of the better human antagonists in this one, because what I liked about him is that how he sits on the fence. Like, you could see in the film, he doesn't go straight after... Like, you know, because, like, you know, at first when he sees Bumblebee, his actions are hostile. But then when Bumblebee says, wait, no, please, I don't want to hurt you. He's like, take it easy, okay, don't hurt him. And, like, he's sort of left questioning. And then, of course, when they meet Shatter and Dropkick and everything, he's sort of just like, he sits off and on the fence. Like, when they were discussing whether they should team up with the Decepticons, they're like, you know, we can make a lot of advances. Yeah, an advance on Washington, an advance on Chicago. They call themselves Decepticons. It shows he doesn't really know who to trust. Like, we can't trust these guys. And, like, and then, of course, by the end of the film, you know, he sees the good in Bumblebee, and he's like, okay, not all these guys are bad. Bumblebee's a good one. You know, these other two manipulated us. Bee's good. These two are bad. So, yeah, that's what I liked. He had a good character arc, and, yeah. And I think, I feel like John Cena was a pretty good fit for the role. Like, he, did a good job of it. Speaking of humans, Haley Steinfeld, I think she was probably my favorite human partner in the live action movies. Because unlike Sam Witwicky, like when Bee first showed up, who like freaked out, panicked, and all that, she was a bit scared, but she didn't necessarily freak out. She was just like, are you okay? What are you? Like, she was just more... She was kind of you know, how do I say this? She was like intrigued, but also a little timid. And honestly, I thought that was way better. A bit more gentle, a bit more, not quite, you know, a bit more mature. And that's what I mean, I know she was struggling with a lot of things like losing her father and everything, but still, like, you know, that's natural human things. You naturally have to deal with, you know, struggles like that in life. So I thought, yeah, Charlie was a much better, was probably arguably the best human partner for a Transformer in this film. Goku and Luz, bye. Alright, so you have a good day, mate. Thank you for stopping by. Let's see. That's the difference. The humans mostly in this film think. Exactly. Like, most of the other humans just, they see a giant robot, they say, let's. No, but the humans in here, they think. Like, you know, some of them are probably, like, you know, were a bit, you know, off the rails and sort of thing. But when you look at, like John Cena's character is the perfect example. Like, you know, he sort of sat on the fence all the way. Like, you know, when he first meets Bumblebee, he thinks he's a threat, but then he realizes, okay, maybe he's not a threat. And then, you know, but that's the thing. It shows these humans, they question things. They've got personalities. Like, it's not like they're not just like a bunch of random people slapped on these films just to kill robots, you know. Shadow and Dropkick weirdly gave me Jesse and James vibes for some reason. And Dropkick also wants the, like, Dropkick toy. Maybe they used the 2007 Dropkick toy as reference for this, I'm not too sure. I kind of wish if they had the Dinobots in the Bumblebee movie. I mean, I don't know if that really would have been fitting, Grimlock, because, like, I get the Dinobots might be your favorites and everything, but you have to remember this is a solo film, and they have to make limitations, and in most G1 cases, the Dinobots were often made on Earth, or, like, made later down the road, so, you know. Can we agree that her relationship with Bumblebee was so adorable? Yes, that's the other thing. Her connection with Bee was really well done. It was like a whole brother-sister sort of thing. It's almost kind of like, which is what I really like to see with characters like this. So yeah, again, like, this is all just really positive stuff at this point for Bumblebee, but that's because it's a good film. Let's see. Brit Former the Warrior 26. Hello, welcome to the stream. I am doing pretty well, for the most part, since we're talking about this film now and not all the other piles of garbage we were talking about. But yeah. Oh, hey, you still alive? Yeah, I'm still alive, Drake. I'll probably be going for a couple more minutes. Maybe like 15 minutes or so. Can't believe Bumblebee keeps losing his voice. I said that earlier. I feel like the whole Bee losing his voice is done at the course. It was a cool gimmick when it came in, but I think it's just been overused at this point. Like, so I've got my fingers crossed he gets his voice back in the next film. But, speaking of which, oh yeah, there's one more thing I want to say about Bumblebee before I move on. Probably my favorite scene in this whole film, it was probably that one scene where Charlie's about to jump off the, Bee sort of pushes her forward to, jump off the cliff with that guy. And the fact where Charlie's a bit hesitant, like, no, I didn't do that, actually. And when Bee plays the touch on the radio, oh my god, guys, I nearly screamed in joy in the theater when that happened, like, because for those who don't know, The Touch is my favorite song of all time. Not just from Transformers, like, overall. I love that song. It's helped me through a lot of difficult times. So when I heard that in the theater, even if it was just for like 3 seconds, I nearly cried tears of joy. I was so happy. Like, that just said to me, Transformers is back. This is Transformers. Like, I was just so happy with that, so I just thought I'd share that a little bit with you guys, but yeah. Yeah, can't say enough nice things about Bumblebee. It's the film we have been waiting for so many years. Let's see. Yeah, even I'm confused that many people say who find it difficult that makes a difference between Blitzwing and Starscream, especially that they're two Seekers. Yeah, that's true, they're Marvel zombies. Although Cordy FX did bring up the idea of how they bring back Blitzwing, it basically was that Sector 7 would make their own Transformers. Oh, yeah. That's true, but I don't know if that would really work. But, I mean, I think I've said enough good things about Bumblebee. So, we'll probably end the stream shortly, but final thoughts, I'm going to say on Transformers Rise of the Beast. Now, of course, film hasn't come out yet. Am I going to see it? Absolutely. I think it's probably going to be the best Transformers movie yet. The characters look amazing. Mostly. I'm really excited to hear everyone's performances. The visual effects look really well done as usual. It'll be cool to see a lot of the Maximals and Predacons in action because I really enjoyed Beast Wars as well. So Rise of the Beasts, I'm really excited for. And I really cannot wait for it to hit theaters. Let's see. Of course, like I said, we don't have much information on here, and of course, I've been dodging spoilers. I know we haven't gotten that much yet, but still. I've been trying to dodge spoilers as much as possible. I'm sure as most of you guys have. The characters all look really good, with a few exceptions. Like, I know people are a little bit miffed that Mirage isn't an F1 car, rather than he's a Porsche, which is what Jazz should be, but at the end of the day, an F1 car isn't road legal, and, you know, I mean, I still probably would have preferred if they brought Jazz back in, just because, like, you know, Jazz is one of my favorites, and, you know, I feel like he deserves another shot, but still, I'm pretty sold on Mirage. RC looks amazing. I'm really excited to see her. The only Transformer I'm a little concerned with is Wheeljack, because his vehicle form is going to be like a Volkswagen van. I think it's called a combi van or something. And I think his design is going to be not really reminiscent of what it was in this film. It's going to be like very kind of nerdy in a way. Not like Albert Einstein, but it's going to be very different. So I'm not really too sure if that's going to be it. As long as his personality's on point, I'm sure I can grow to accept him, but we'll see. But, see, in regards, you know, we've got the Predacons. We know that Scourge is going to be the main villain. I've seen his design. He looks great. And lots of people are sort of expecting that Scourge might be playing a servant to Unicron because, you know, he's often reborn from Unicron or has some sort of relation to Unicron. So I think lots of people are sort of expecting Unicron sort of going to become like this big Thanos of this new Transformers series that we've got coming our way. So yeah, I'm really excited to see Scourge in action as well. I'm sure he will be a good villain. Being a big truck like Optimus, I'm sure he's going to really fit the bill. Yeah, so of course there's been no confirmation that we'll get Megatron, which honestly I would really like to see Megatron in like a very G1 style look. Again, I'm not entirely sure if we will get Megatron. I hope we do. Maybe even if it's just one scene, I hope we get to see Megatron, especially if it's Frank Welker voicing him again. But I mean, still, yeah, I'm really pumped for Rise of the Beasts. And yeah, essentially that's all I can really say. I'm really excited for Rise of the Beasts. Just gotta wait till the film comes out. I'll probably do like a review on it. I don't normally do reviews often, but like if someone may remember, I did a little review on the second Sonic movie, so I'll probably do the same thing for when Rise of the Beast comes out. Just because I feel like it's good to share thoughts. And I figured this was the reason why I decided to stream this was just because, like, well, I've got 6 movies to go through, and like, you know, I can't really squeeze that all into one video, so I'll just stream it. But yeah, so let's see, what are you guys saying? Some people didn't like the way Bumblebee acted in this movie, but the entire point of Bumblebee's character, exactly, like Bumblebee, like, you know, he was kind of fearful, like, you know, he lost that battle against Blitzwing, and he was really injured, he's kind of fearful, he doesn't have all his memories, he doesn't really know his purpose, so in a way, he makes sense for him to be a bit scared, but he's trying to find his way back to where he was. Let's see. What I kind of did not like in this movie is that, like, the humans make Bumblebee the same day. I just forgot about him. Yeah, maybe, but still. Again, it's just the way it is, really. See, Wheeljack's design in Rise of the Beast is not Wheeljack, but a nerd which is giving us fans the middle finger. Yeah, exactly, Keldo. Like I said, Wheeljack's the only concern I've got for Rise of the Beast. Like I said, if his personality's on point, I'm sure I can maybe tolerate him, but yeah, again, like they had the G1 design for Bumblebee, like, you know, why didn't they keep it? Like they kept the G1 design for RC, they kept the G1 design for Optimus, you know, and while CSB is going to be sporting the Camaro again, they've still kept the same design that they had in this film, like a shorter guy. So, you know, yeah, really, hope Optimus doesn't lose his Energon sword. I hope not either, but again, we'll see. We'll have to wait and see. We can't really say much on Rise of the Beast at the moment because it's still a while or a few months away, but I'm excited. I'm super pumped for this. And I mean, yeah, so I think maybe we'll maybe we'll wrap it up here. I think I've said enough. I've talked long enough. I think you guys are probably getting tired of hearing my voice. Alright, I'm just gonna turn the music off for a little bit, for this last little bit. And so I think we'll wrap it up here. I want to thank you guys all for watching. That means a lot. We had quite a few people show up. There will be a new video this coming Friday, or Thursday if you're in America. I will say this, it's not Sonic and the Autobots episode 3. So that's nowhere near finished yet, guys. That's still got a long way to go. It is related to Sonic and the Autobots, but it's not episode 3. So just bear that in mind, guys. Just bear that in mind. Episode 3 is still a ways off. I am working on it, but just be patient with me. Animation takes time. So, but yes, there will be a new video out this Friday. Something short, something a little bit silly, but I think you guys will enjoy it. And other than that, guys, thank you for listening to me rant on about these films. It was good to get this all off my chest. And I shall see you guys next time I stream.